Hello, this is Vampire. Today I would like to talk to you guys about a book that I read recently. The title is Dying of the Light, The End. So this was a zombie story, and I guess let me put it this way. This is not about a group of people trying to survive a zombie attack. I guess that's the typical zombie scenario that you would see in a movie or something, but that's not the situation here. This is about following an elite group of special forces dealing with outbreaks all over the nation, and because of their high military clearance, we are able to see through their eyes the big picture. So we get to see the actual Zompacalypse folding as, they're taking care of these small outbreaks state by state, The average citizen has no idea about the whole picture, what exactly is causing this and where does it come from? Did it happen before in history? Is it happening throughout the world? What is the government really trying to do about it? Like, usually when you watch a zombie film, none of that stuff is really explained very well. In this book right here, like I said, because the main characters are a group of elite, top secret special forces people, we get to see all of that going on. So that's pretty awesome right there, if you ask me. You get to find out about all that stuff. So, okay, generally speaking, what's in this book? There's lots of weapons, lots of action, as you would expect. If you've seen Aliens, if you've seen Independence Day, the typical military people just going in. Black Hawk Down is another good one. It's very, very intense, and you're going to see a group of teams, military teams, going in there and fighting against whatever it is, and it's just very, very intense. Well, this book captures that. So you're going to see, just how difficult the situation is. So that's all in there. It's very intense, lots of action. But at the same time, because these guys are a group of very elite special forces guys, you're also going to see them at sometimes go in there and just be surgically precise. You're going to see their expertise. And that is also, perhaps you won't see in other films, or you may not read about in other stories. And to me, having that, to get to see the elite side is also very nice, and it feels good. You basically get to watch perfection, in action. So that's awesome. Like I said, there's lots of weapons, but there's also high-tech weapons specifically made to, take out the zombies and stuff. So that's also very, very cool. There's some humor in here. And then I have 3 words for you. Tough military babes. Yes, there's some tough military babes in there. There's walkers, there's runners, there's kid zombies. And the kid zombies aren't, they're not dumb. It's not like a joke where you see it. It's very tragic, especially in the story. They portray it as very tragic. Look, the reason why I explained the battles as very intense, as like Black Hawk Down, it is very intense, and it's overall this is quite serious, and I can tell by reading it, it's modeled to be as realistic as possible, even though zombies is not realistic at all in a way, but the way they're dealing with it as an epidemic, as a disease, or something like that is very realistic. And then how the military teams are developed and put together, I think that's very, very realistic. The author definitely did their research, so that's very interesting. On top of that, here are some other things to look for. We have a presidential speech. I mean, things get so bad that he has to address the public. That's an awesome read. There's a broadcast news that goes on, and this is for the general public, and this is pretty much the general public's only reliable source, only real source of information out there. So this is very, very interesting to read also. He addresses gays in the military, rednecks, and then there's this conspiracy theory going on. So I don't know if you guys like that kind of stuff, but you know, a lot of that stuff you don't want to take seriously, but I do find it very entertaining, and it goes with the story very, 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 very well. So the conspiracy theory stuff was awesome. James Bond style supervillain is also present. Man, is this guy nasty. And he's not over the top to the point where he is over the top, but it's not to the point where it distracts from the story, where you're going, man, is this guy for real? It's not like that. And probably because he's in a very specific portion of the story. So in that way, he's kind of restrained. It's not like he's just all over the place trying to take over the world and just, you know, it's the good guys versus the bad guys. It's not like that. Like I said, this is almost shot like in a documentary style. Look, I say shot because when I read, I visualize this like a movie. So, but yes, you read it like almost like it's a documentary style. Okay. What else is there? There's a religious cult that you'll get to read about them and their interaction. And of course, there's other human groups. I think in any good zombie film or zombie story, it's not just about the zombies. The zombies are almost like a natural disaster. So like the Godzilla films, you know, Godzilla came from, you know, the nuclear bomb. So it was almost like a message. It was almost like nature is angry. I mean, you could just view it as a monster flick and have fun, but there's some underlying undertones in there with bigger messages. And in a well-made zombie flick, I feel, like I said, the zombies are kind of more like a natural disaster, and it's really about human interaction. How do humans respond? And in those kinds of stories, you're going to see that sometimes the humans are worse than the zombies. And I think that's very important. That's a very important message, and this totally covers that. So you're going to get to see that. And also, this also includes, if all this wasn't enough, it also includes the most probable scientific explanation of why these zombies exist and how they came to be. So I think that's also very, very interesting. So there's science, the whole thing is basically military, so there's military, and then you have like the regular civilians, human interaction and stuff going on. It was a very interesting read for me, and you probably just, I've hinted it out already, but I can't wait for this to be made into a movie. If it was made into an actual film, it would definitely be a huge blockbuster because it covers worldwide phenomena. It covers multiple states, you know, in the United States. You know, they're like James Bond, you know, traveling from one state to the other, taking care of, you know, breakouts and stuff like that. So it would be a huge budget, basically a huge blockbuster summer film, and something like Independence Day is almost the way I imagine it. So even though it's a zombie flick, it'll be the first of its kind to be, even though it's a horror film, it appeals to, you know, the general audience. So that should be very interesting.